Hey everybody, it's Chris Seeds, Wootini from GayGamer.net, here with another weekly video podcast. Last week, I was so busy talking about Christmas that I forgot that the previous week before, I had promised to talk about Star Wars, because 2 episodes ago I hadn't seen it yet. But then that episode, I had seen it, but I was too busy talking about Christmas, so I forgot. So I want to start off by very quickly just saying Star Wars The Force Awakens was terrific. At this point, I feel like it's been a few weeks. You can spoil things, but I'm not going to spoil anything important. But one thing that I will say is that when you're watching it, you realize that they really went back to basics after the prequels that were like, you know, all this like political intrigue that was like super hard to follow and kind of boring, and you're just like, what? I just want to see people having adventures and shooting things and spaceships and lightsabers and fighting and blowing up things. This movie goes back to basics, and it might go a little bit too back to basics because it basically hits all the same beats as the original Star Wars. Like, it's like a greatest hits kind of thing. It's like, here's the desert planet, here's a cold planet with lots of snow and ice, you know, here's a cantina, and here's this, and here's that, and, you know, like, it hits all the same beats that are very familiar, but at the same time, after those prequels kind of ruined Star Wars, it's nice to go back to basics, and it's comforting to have the same kind of adventure. And it's nice because you do get the return of, you know, some characters from the original trilogy, you know, Han and Chewie and Leia and everything. But thankfully, they're not just like cameos while the new characters take over. They do play integral roles, which is nice. And it also helps that the new characters are really compelling and cool, and you like them. Can't really say that about any of the prequel movies. Like, no, I didn't like any of those people. And I also appreciated the return to practical effects, because yes, CGI has improved so that you can do it more realistically than they did in the prequels, but looking at those prequels, like, there's entire scenes where, like, it's Yoda and a bunch of clone troopers on a ship flying over the desert, and you're like, there is nothing, I'm not looking at anything real in this shot. Everything in this shot is computer generated. So it's nice to have a movie here where when there's people fighting in an environment, that environment exists. And it also, I feel, helps with the actors' performances because they have something to work off of. Because the prequel acting, I don't know if it was just George Lucas being a really bad director, or if it was the fact that these actors were literally standing in a green screen talking to a tennis ball on a stick a lot of the times, that affected their performances, because there are actors in those movies, like Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman, who are good actors, but their performances are so stiff and wooden and awkward, and I don't know whether to blame the green screen or George Lucas's directing style, but still, this is much more compelling. J.J. Abrams does a good job. Everyone gives a fun, excited performance. Like, they're inhabiting these roles, and it's really good. It might feel a little repetitive, based on having seen the original Star Wars. It does kind of feel the same, but at the same time, that is, like I said, comforting, and I am very much looking forward to the next chapter, which is the best thing you can say, because after those prequels, I was just like, I don't need to see any more prequels. And each one of them, I was like, nope, nope, still don't like them. But this one, I'm excited, and I want to see the next one. As for gaming, I continue to play Thief, which continues to have a very weird difficulty curve. Like, you go from chapter to chapter in the city. There's kind of an open city that you can kind of explore and check out and run around in, and there's lots of little places to go and steal from and stuff. And then you go to the next chapter. The problem that I have with it, is the same thing that I had with when I played the original Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1, which is, if you're playing a stealth game where you have to sneak around and avoid enemies and cameras and whatever, you can't hide crucial things where you can't get to them. That's not a problem in Thief, but it pissed me off in the original Metal Gear Solid, and I did not ever finish it, because I remember I was sneaking through some base, some enemy base, and I got to where I had to be, and it's like, oh no, you can't open this door unless you get this key. And I'm like, what key? I saw no key, I picked up no key along my travels. And it turns out that the key was in like this other section that you had to go to. And I'm like, if you're gonna tell me to sneak around and be unseen, I'm not gonna go out of my way like I would in a Tomb Raider game to explore every nook and cranny. Because the more you explore, the more likely you are to get caught. So I'm not gonna do as much extra exploring in a stealth game. And I was just like, forget it, never mind. And I turned it off and I never went back. And I've never played a Metal Gear game since, because I'm not good with stealth, and that just turned me off it. The stealth in Thief is more interesting because you don't have to go in those extra nooks and crannies, but it just helps with like the collecting of extra stuff. And if you have more money, you can buy more gear and, you know, that sort of thing. But so far, with just a few asides here and there, I've been doing pretty well. The problem is that the game likes to give you a big area where there's like hardly any enemies, and it's much easier, and you can sneak around and you can find all the little nooks and crannies and all the little things to steal. And then other times you're dropped into a room with like enemies all around and there's nothing you can do. And then it gets like stupid hard, because it isn't a combat game, and it's not like, you know, Metal Gear where you get discovered, you could take them out and hide again and hope that everything goes back to normal. Here, once they discover you, they're on you, and if there's more than one guard, if there's one guard, it's tough to take them out. If there's more than one guard, you're dead. Just forget it. Don't even try fighting back, because it's not going to happen. So, it's frustrating, but again, I'm on chapter 4. I'm not sure how many chapters there are, but I feel like I'm at least halfway through the game. So, having not paid anything for it, I feel like I'm definitely getting my money's worth. Now I want to talk about Pokemon Picross, which I promised last week I would talk about this week. Okay. I love Picross games. I've bought all the Picross games that they have put out in the eShop. However, as excited as I was, ooh, another Picross game. This one was a little tricky, because it's not just, here's a puzzle. Okay, here's another puzzle. And they just get more difficult as you go on. Here, you have to have Pokemon with you, and you can choose which Pokemon to bring into a puzzle with you, and each Pokemon will have an ability that will help you solve the puzzle, either by revealing squares, or, you know, stopping time, and that sort of thing. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then each puzzle has, like, missions. And there's certain requirements, and for each mission that you know, like 4 or 5 different things, it's like, bring only grass Pokemon, or use this ability one time, you know. So you can set specific Pokemon, and you can meet those requirements, and then that will earn you Picross, which are what you use to unlock the next level, or to unlock more abilities. And the problem that I have discovered with Pokemon Picross is I've gone back and I've redone missions and gotten as many Picross as I can. However, I am now at the point where I can't open the next area. Like, there's still a few Pokemon puzzles I can't do because they're, like, beyond my abilities right now. Like, they're really, really hard. And you need the Pokemon to have those abilities to reveal things, whatever, and, like, they're too difficult, and they're too big, so I don't have the Pokemon that are able to do anything. They can only work on the small puzzles, they can't do the big puzzles. And I can't open up the next area because I don't have enough Picross. The problem is that you earn Picross by doing the puzzles and solving those, you know, meeting those mission requirements. However, I've done all that, So it's like there's no additional pick rights that I can easily earn. And so this is where I've discovered that their design is slightly flawed, because usually with these free-to-play games, they're free-to-play, and you can play it for a little bit, and then you're done. And if you want to play more, you have to pay to continue playing. And I thought, well, this is fine, because, you know, I solve a handful of puzzles, I run out of time, I'm done. I'll play it again tomorrow. It's not a problem. It'll keep me from getting too addicted and just doing Picross puzzles all day. However, it's gotten to the point where I can't play more without spending money. And that's not cool. I mean, I can. It'll just take like a really long time to like earn like a few pick rates each time, and then eventually I can open up the next area. But like it's sort of irritating. So I'm kind of not really that excited about Pokemon Picross anymore, and I've kind of stopped because it's like, whatever. Because it's kind of it's become a chore, you know? So, we'll see if I go back to it. I don't think I will. But unless I'm missing some way to earn pick rights so that I can open up the next area, which I don't think I am, but I don't know. Because it wasn't very good at teaching you the instructions in the beginning of the game. It wasn't very clear, and I didn't go read the manual because, you know, who reads manuals anymore? Probably should have. Oh well. So, come back next week, and we'll see what's going on then. Bye!